Hi, here's how to design a carbon neutral building in 5 minutes with the latest Green Building Studio web service. Let's start with a scheme in Revit. It could be commercial or residential, and export it to a GBXML file, and then use the freely available GBS client to upload the file to the Green Building Studio web service. A brief side note: GBXML was created by Green Building Studio and is maintained by today's BIM tool vendors. Next, based on the building size, type, and location, the web service creates a baseline building and conducts a whole building energy simulation using DO2 energy software. DO2 simulates every hour of the year, accounting for all weather, solar, and internal loads, as well as energy uses in the building. It also models the effects of passive solar design. Now, less than a minute after leaving Revit, you've got results. And these results are specifically designed to give you the right information at the right time to guide your building design decisions, including the carbon neutrality potential. Which brings me to the innovative thing about the new version 3.0. Along with the total building energy use and cost, you get an outline of your building's carbon footprint. For this scheme, you'll spend $20,000 per year on energy. Electricity use will produce 65 tons of CO2 emissions, with 5 tons from on-site fuel use. Now, who really has a feel for how much that really is? That's why the Green Building Studio web service gives an H3 Hummer equivalent. So this building's CO2 emissions are equivalent to over 6 Hummers driving 15,000 miles a year. Whoa. Now, what's the potential for this building to be carbon neutral? This base run emits 70 tons of CO2 per year. If you maximize the renewables, rely on your environment for natural ventilation, and use biofuels on site, you can shrink the carbon footprint to 35 tons of CO2, as you can see on the net emissions line. So that's the number of tons you've got to slash to zero in order for your building to potentially be carbon neutral. And this is all based on the mix of power sources in your region. Continuing on to some of the other cutting-edge results in version 3.0. Here's your building's water use and cost summary. The photovoltaic potential section tells you how much power you could generate if you installed solar panels on all the best performing exterior surfaces of your building. There's also a yes/no decision point for your lead glazing factor. Further down, we come to a snapshot of the potential energy gain from a wind microturbine, based on the wind data from one of the 55,000 Green Building Studio weather locations, guaranteeing you'll have hourly weather data within 9 miles of your site. Now, if you happen to be in a part of the world where you're lucky enough to be able to open your windows to cool the building, this next section will tell you that. For this building, there's a potential to do that over 90% of the time that cooling is required. Sweet! Literally within minutes, the Green Building Studio web service can determine if the building design requires a cooling system or not. So, how do we take this building from emitting 70 tons of carbon into the atmosphere to carbon neutral? Let's try some design alternatives. We can reorient the building to maximize the benefit of solar power, improve lighting efficiency, and have sensors turn the lights off when natural light levels are high enough. Let's also put high-performance glass on all sides of the building to see what effect it has on our energy use and carbon output. In Green Building Studio, you can change your envelope and glazing options very quickly in the 4 key solar orientations of your building. Now we're ready to give our design alternative a name, add it to the alternatives table, and run it. We'll know the run is finished when the annual energy cost of this alternative appears. And right away we'll be able to compare it to the energy cost of our initial base run, which appears at the top. Looks like we just saved nearly $4 grand per year. Not bad for a minute's work. Looking at our new results, our design alternative measures cut 12 tons of carbon from our electricity usage, and our renewable potential nearly doubled to 32 tons of mitigated carbon. Altogether, we're only a half a ton away from carbon neutral. Let's take a look at what other design alternatives we can apply to get our net carbon down to zero. If we click on the name of our first set of design alternatives, that configuration will be set and appear above in red. Let's fine-tune our HVAC system with a more efficient one. Once again, we enter the name of the alternative, add it, and run it. While we're waiting for our new energy cost, I'd like to point out that in design alternatives, you can modify the envelope construction and glass amount on each solar orientation, as well as on the roof. Hey, I wonder if our new design alternatives will bring us to carbon neutral. Oh, it's ready. Let's find out. Our net carbon dropped 1.5 tons to -1. Now the building has a 1-ton carbon credit. Congratulations! Your building can now go beyond carbon neutral. Carbon neutrality is a reality now with the Green Building Studio web service. Thanks for taking the time to learn about the Green Building Studio web service. Please contact us to activate your full-featured GBS Web Service corporate account, sign up for our carbon neutral design training, and become a part of the new generation of architects designing carbon neutral buildings.